Okay, so I'm here at Van Nuys Courthouse, like 14400 Irwin Street. Um, and I'm ordering the dockets from 2013 arrests to 2017 money grubbing whore and child rapist Sean Dinsey. Working with his tag team buddy, Kareen T. Phillips, prosecutor Kareen T. Phillips, who are fraud and criminals, hunting me to steal my family's money because they know that I grew up in Hidden Hills from a rich neighborhood, 2 houses down from Nikki Sixx, Frankie Avalon, and a lot of other famous people, which is a horse community. And they know, as they've been stalking me since a young child, how does my father come into play? It's very complex, but they know that I come from a family of money. They want to shut me up about their crime spree when I was a young child or in high school. And their means to try to make me look crazy with their neighborhood watch groups to mentally batter me to death with psychological warfare tactics to get reactions to say he's a violent paranoid schizo. We need to force him into a mental institution. And by the way, we're going to make money off stealing his house and cars and paying lawyers and all these things to steal all my money and my family's money, okay? While they run around saying that I'm a criminal and a thief to cover up their crime spree against me to steal my family's money and then say, hey, Kevin's a criminal, right? Okay, just like having 100,000 people a day provoke me and then say, look, Kevin's a violent paranoid schizo and we need to remove him from society. So how does Dinsey play into these murder operations to have me killed with my father? Well, it starts with my father, it goes to my brother. Let's provoke Kevin to death, make him look like a violent paranoid schizo, and then somehow links into the police trying to cover it up on a 46-year or 51-year, but 46-year murder operation because I'm 51 years old. It starts around 5 years old. I'm going to make Kevin look like a violent paranoid schizo. I'm going to make it look like he conforms to media. Police paid off to put bullet holes in 300 Mercedes. Hey, world, Kevin's crazy. Look what he did. Not telling me, so I don't know what's going on. Wouldn't that sort of make you paranoid when you find out there's a plan of people mad at you for no reason? Okay, they won't tell you what's going on. My father stating you know what you did, but he wouldn't specifically tell me, trying to erase my mind, make me look crazy. Okay, so we've ordered the dockets. The 2013 arrests were based on me sitting on the sidewalk with multiple layers of let's try to make Kevin look like a violent paranoid schizo. Kevin thinks he's homeless. Kevin's this. It all comes down to the same thing that it's always been. Kevin has something to say about the worldwide lies, defamation, slander, and fear-mongering, an entire plan to have me killed and try to make me look like a violent paranoid schizo using idea of reference, schizophrenia tactics, setup attempts, frame job attempts, and a lot more. These tactics are in the thousands. Almost every human interaction I've had since 29 years old, finding out mentally batter Kevin to death, 100,000 to 1 million attacks per day, worldwide, internet, you name it. If you were to do a global radius around me as I walked around, you'd probably have about 1,000 provokings per hour that get on video and narrated now for the last 8 years or something. And usually when I'm at the courthouse, there's people sort of coming out of their houses here in clothing colors, like maybe 20 of them with black pants green shirt, and maybe 20 more with black pants red shirt or black pants pink shirt. And then the verbal harassments, which I've already been harassed by Securitas AB and walking in the door with the alrighty tactics and some other ones that the world is told to do instantly. That information instantly travels worldwide. Now do this to Kevin, now do that to Kevin, like the groupings of white cars together that started about 6 months ago or 8 months ago. That instantly go worldwide in 1 week's time. Especially at my house, if I try to walk, people saying, well, you take too many walks, so you're not allowed to take walks. Things like this that don't make any sense, to try to bully a 5-year-old to death nonstop for 46 years. And then hint, hint, you're a bully, right? By finding out, to try to cover it all up. Okay, so we've ordered the dockets from 2013, 2017. Now there's a hitch on the 2013 docket here. They've expunged, they haven't stated it today, but in the past, they've expunged all record of the 2013 arrests. They've wiped it clean as if it never happened. Okay, now why did they do that? Because child rapist, money-grubbing whore, criminal, fraud artist, Sean Dinsey and Kareen T. Phillips, who are thieves, criminals, Jew-killing murderers, this has nothing to do with crime except for theirs, don't want these things to exist. Now, what was that arrest? That arrest was absurd things like you sat on the sidewalk, you supposedly tried to kill someone by throwing a piece of paper at them, a business card. Of course, that never happened, but even if it did, you would sort of laugh like, what? Okay, and things like that. And this is difficult to do with a cell phone. I usually do this with a camera. So that in itself, you know that something absurd is going on, but I have no recourse because everyone's sort of working against me, okay? And shitbag, child rapist, money-grubbing whore, Beverly Hills lawyer, Jonathan Franklin that I hired, when I showed him everything that was going on, proving my innocence, and saying, look, these cops are corrupt as shit, and they're trying to make me look crazy, and here's proof. You know what he said? He said, I'm not going to say anything bad about a cop. Well, wait, isn't a defense attorney's job to defend you and go on the stand and bring the police officer on the stand and go, why did you do this and why did you do that? And why aren't you talking about this? Why are you pretending this doesn't exist? Okay? And then they'll cover up, well, they don't believe you, or, yeah, that's why. They don't believe me, so they're following me around, mentally battering me to death with schizophrenia tactics, then saying you're imagining it with a planet of people, right? For 46 years, including high school teachers, middle school teachers, college professors, whatever, that I'm not allowed to talk about my past, because if I talk about my past, then I suffer from mental illness and it's obsession. Well, that's interesting, because most people are allowed to talk about their past. And if you grabbed a black man who was a slave for 40 years and you said, if you talk about slavery, you suffer from obsession, he would say, you're a fucking racist piece of shit and you need to die, right? And I'm basically saying the same thing, and I'm not saying I'm a violent paranoid schizo here, but what I'm saying is, hey, any piece of trash that runs around saying you're not allowed to talk about the injustices that are done to you is a child rapist murdering piece of shit, and we don't like child rapist murdering pieces of shit. Whether they smile and laugh and pretend it's a joke, or they're teasing you while trying to kill you, whatever. Okay, so the point is that I'm trying to get the paperwork that they've withheld from me and they've expunged and tried to wipe it off record as if it never happened, and then sort of play a game. Well, Kevin, I'll move on, just you suffer from obsession. That was 2013. Well, let me tell you something. For the last 22 years, I've been harassed and provoked minute by minute, 100,000 to 1 million attacks per day. And it has always been going on since 5 years old, except it was a little more subtle. It was based on trying to set me up and frame me and push me down the wrong path. And they couldn't do it. And I made it to 29, finding out what Mike Huntley was paid to do to have me killed, starting at 14 and starting up Signity Services with me. And I found out what he was doing. And that's when it got really bad with the world of paranoia and you're a dead man and I've given you enough rope to hang yourself with, and dropping papers on my desk, how to make people mentally ill and kill them. And that was always going on. But they couldn't do it in a way. Example, when my father paid off LAPD to put bullet holes in cars, or my father with Mike Huntley paid off Rody Morales to try to plant a police confiscated trash bag of marijuana in my house that was about, let's say, 28 years ago. They were trying to make me look like a drug dealer and frame me to look like a drug dealer, okay? While my brother drives around at 16 with his license plate frame, I swerve and hit people at random saying it's me, right? Okay, so they're trying to plant LAPD confiscated marijuana in my house, and I say no, I don't want it. Okay, now why? Yet they still came after me saying you're a drug dealer and hint, hint, you did this with idea of reference messages. Why? Because it's about creating mental illness to eradicate. Okay, using psychology as a weapon to torture and kill and eradicate. Okay, by all means, no matter what it takes. And in my case, with worldwide support, also known as gang stalking. There's no real official name. Community harassment groups, gang stalking. But mine has been exponentially grown worldwide since 5 years old, and going to colleges. Cities were notified in Colorado and Southern Oregon State College hey, this guy supposedly did all these things and you need to help us eradicate him and remove him from society. Okay, that with a mother babbling weird, freaky things like, I just want you to have a normal life, so you need to go to psychologists and give them coerced false confessions so that you can have a normal life, right? Okay, pure fucking insanity from people with psychology degrees. Okay, so I'm not gonna go too long on this, but here I am, Van Nuys Courthouse, 14400 Irwin Street. They have a problem with the truth coming out. Even walking in there, the anger and rage. That's the guy we're trying to kill. How dare you come in here and say it's wrong, right? Okay, and now remember that I have a planet that has been lied to with thousands and thousands of lies. I did this, I did that, or they're nitpicking stupid things that don't matter, like you farted wrong, you blinked wrong, and trying to bully me to death, and then hinting that you know what you did and you deserve it, to try to make me think that I don't have a right to exist or live. And then somehow it's about psychology. The only thing that has to do with psychology here is it's a newer form of killing people, and gang stalking in itself through history, which is extremely rare even today, even with the small groups, was derived from Adolf Hitler's next regime of psychological warfare tactics. Now, it's ironic that the people with psychology degrees, they go all the way up the top to Congress and Senate and President, NSA, are exerting or using, especially the psychology community, Adolf Hitler's labeling and next level of warfare to kill U.S. citizens. Okay, flag and kill. I think my 5-year-old is the next Unabomber. We're going to kill him in a way that we're going to send him to elsewhere. We're not going to kill him. We're just going to send him to elsewhere. Right? Okay, right? We're going to dumb down the terminology, so every time I go into the police department and say, hey, look, this person threatened my life, and then there's 50 car vandalisms, and there's physical attacks, and I'll mark it as car vandalism so we don't have to investigate it, right? Okay? But why? What makes me different than anyone else, other than I've been labeled at 5 years old as someone that doesn't have a right to breathe? Other than that, I do the same things as everyone else. My life is identical to everyone else. I got 2 arms, I got 2 legs. I went to college, I got a degree. I worked in Hollywood. I had my own company for 6 years. I worked IT, computers, Transact SQL programming, .NET programming, graphics, 3D animation, visual effects. Was trying to get into studio photography and do cool things and make money, but like everything I tried to do from day one, you're not allowed to make money or breathe or talk to people or have friends. Your kind is not allowed to exist since 5 years old. With a complete worldwide psychological warfare operation to have me killed with worldwide support. The mind-boggling part is, how did the government con everyone into believing that I'm such a bad guy that they should all get together and kill me, and the guilt that they have that they don't want to come forward and say, hey, we fucked up and this is what we were told. Okay, the most important part. To try to George Floyd a 5-year-old to death minute by minute, 100,000 to 1 million mental bludgeonings for 46 years, or exponentially they're growing to that rate, and then having a planet of people mentally bludgeon my skull in minute by minute so I can't talk or say anything until I'm dead or gone, right? And the entire reasoning things got so bad when I was 29 years old and finding out was because if you keep punching someone in the back of the head 100,000 times a day, they can't talk or tell you or even cry for help. They just keel over and die, okay? And the method of the mental bludgeonings in subtle ways, but 100,000 to 1 million per day, is a way to kill someone without investigation. And then if they drive you to the point of suicide or something, they say, you know, the guy wasn't stable and he suffers from mental illness and he killed himself, right? So we don't need to investigate it, because that way there's no loose ends, okay? And they don't care how they kill you. They don't care if they make you look crazy and force you into a mental institution like Dincy was trying to do. And remember that Dincy has been reduced after going on his money-grubbing tirade to execute and eradicate imperfection. I didn't have the resources to stop Dincy, but he fucked with the wrong guy, and he fucked with Rex Schillenberger And Rex Schillenberger, an ex-Hollywood guy that lost his job, was sleeping in his van, and Dincy wouldn't tolerate a guy sleeping in his van. That kind of thing can't happen. So he tried to force him into a mental institution, forging paperwork and putting him on Facebook, turning everyone against him, just like he was doing to me. But mine starts at 5 years old with NSA level and FBI level tools. That Dincy was federally sued, and the city of LA was federally sued by Rex Schillenberger. And after that, Dincy has been sort of put in a back room and has been sort of silenced since 2020, where he stopped riling up his neighborhood watch groups and worldwide groups to hunt people that he just didn't like or wants to throw labels on. He wasn't doing the police process, because if you just randomly say, hey, that guy over there, I think he did this, everyone go after him, that takes everything out of the courtroom, correct? Okay, so the point I'm making here is that Dincy is executing people, especially me, and based on his ignorance and stupidity, and he thinks he's some genius who went to CSUN trying to get into politics, and we all know that most politicians are corrupt douchebags anyways. Okay, like my sister Jennifer Pilchick Perlman, who's trying to silence me with my brother's crime spree that they're saying was me. Okay, so the point I'm making here is that these things are all linked. And now while Dincy sits in his back room, he's still sort of riling up the neighborhood watch groups to kill for him or try to set people up and frame them and steal their money. Okay, so guess what happens when Dincy and people like Richard Barnwell, who was stealing my money, lawyer Richard Barnwell, or Jonathan Franklin, are stealing my money and then saying this guy is this and that, let's throw him in jail, and he's going to pay lawyers and he's going to pay bail. It's a money operation to steal people's money. And he knows that I have too much information. The LAPD doesn't want coming out, like them being paid to put bullet holes in 300E Mercedes and shit like that. And 100,000 other things like that. The things people were told to do to try to make me look crazy. Even college teachers and professors and 4 people, one in each state, taking me to strip clubs saying I'm stalking strippers. And all the strippers paid off to stalk and hunt and follow me, saying I'm doing something to them, playing victim. How is that about mental illness? Okay, so they're trying to create mental illness to eradicate, to make people look crazy, to rid them of the world. Okay, Adolf Hitler's next regime of warfare to eradicate. Okay, so Dincy is still in the scenes while he sits in the back room of offices, sort of coordinating with neighborhood watch groups to stalk people, pretending it's about neighborhood watches when the concept of neighborhood watch is if you see something, report it, not follow people around, provoke them, and say, look what he did in huge numbers. And that is not police work. That is shallow people looking to fill a void in themselves by pretending to be a police officer. But they're being given disinformation that they're allowed to do it. So what LAPD is doing is saying, you're allowed to be vigilantes for us, and we're going to shirk all responsibility. So kill for us. It wasn't us, it was that guy. And I'm not gonna hold him accountable, right? I'm not gonna hold him accountable for killing you because he's one of my cronies in the neighborhood watch group, okay? So, and I'm not saying that all neighborhood watch groups are like this, but I'm saying that Dincy's definitely is. And he started in on me when they paid off Rody Morales, my gym manager, to take me to strip clubs, which Mike Huntley wanted me to sign up to the gym to meet. And I can go through 1,000 different stories just like this growing up. Did I sort of, I'll say I passed the test, not that they're really tests, they're ways to exterminate you. But it doesn't matter, in Kevin Perlman's life, it doesn't matter how good I am or how many times I prove I'm a good person. They keep coming after me with worldwide sickos and child rapist sickos. And the more innocent, the more proof I show that I'm a good person or innocent, the angrier they and their worldwide sicko child rapists get, because they don't want to be known as psychotic murdering child rapists who are hunting me to steal my house and cars and all my money. And whatever the motive is 2 things: kill and steal money. And however you want to prioritize it, it doesn't really matter, if that makes sense. But when Jason Perlman's running around with Greg Waugh trying to make how do I say it? He's coming after my friend with a crowbar, and I jump in the way, and my brother tells me that blood is thicker than water, and I have to help him with his sicko shit, and I say no, absolutely not. And worldwide groups come after me like, well, why didn't you call the cops? Like, while the bar's swinging through the air. Well, if I call the cops and let him hit Gregoire on the head with a crowbar, Greg would be dead, okay? And why are you mad at me for jumping in the way of a crowbar? Okay, so, and that's when you really understand who you're talking to and what type of sick shit you're talking to. But the bottom line is that after that, I realized with Brittany Henderson and talking to Gregoire on the phone that Gregoire actually was on Jason's side of trying to get me to go after him. If you understand, they're staging an event and Jason's telling me to help him go after Greg so Jason can say Kevin's psychotic and I told him to do this. And okay, now I can go through 1,000 different events like this, and those are the things they don't want me talking about.
I'll be back.
And I'm just gonna end this here, that I'm 51 years old. The last 22 years I've been fighting off 100,000 to 1 million attacks per day for no reason at all. I just turned 29, you're a dead man. I realize these things have always been going on since 5 years old, exponentially growing. And the minute I found out that they're trying to put me in a position to try to justify killing me, does that make sense? Hey, we had to kill this guy because, well, that's not the real story. The real story is, I want to kill my 5-year-old. I need a cover-up excuse. Now, if we want to go to law and order and morals and ethics, you cannot justify killing people for any reason. Well, that's the guy that, so I'm going to kill him. That's the guy that I'm going to kill him. That's the guy that I'm going to help the police kill him. Okay, there's no actual justification to kill a 5-year-old Jew from a child rapist father. They're just murderers. Now, if you have to stop someone in self-defense, yeah, it's not, they're different contexts. If you have to stop that crowbar from bashing your fucking skull in, you have the right to stop it. Okay, so I'm going to end it there because, and you don't want to be in that situation, obviously, and nobody does, but the point I'm making here is that the way these people are angularly wording things and trying to set me up and frame me minute by minute since 5 years old, these are things that we need to get to the bottom of. Why it happened, why it's still going on, why I'm not allowed to say, that's the most important, why I'm not allowed to say anything about it, what's it about, most importantly, and why is it happening? And if you don't think that this doesn't affect you, you're insane. You have to be insane. Yeah, you have a fluffy life, and you have a big house and a swimming pool, and a nice sparkling gloss on your swimming pool, and I don't care. It could happen to you. It could happen to that guy over there that can't afford a car. He lost his job. He's sleeping in the street. And when people are saying with neighborhood watch groups, I'm not going to let you buy food because you need to be put in a cage for not having a big house and a big car. Life isn't that simple. There's complexity to life. And sometimes some people have really good jobs and the shit happen. Maybe, here's a theoretical. Maybe the guy has a really good job and a big house and his wife gets cancer and he has to spend all his money for doctor's bills and he loses his house and cars to try to save his life and he's in the street and boom. Here comes Sean Dincy and his worldwide Nazi perfectionist group, and they run around going, well, we don't care who you are. See that nice glistening swimming pool of mine? That you sleeping in the street a half mile away ruins that glisten on my swimming pool. And so I got to put you in a mental institution and cage, and you're not allowed to ever have a life again. Because you're ruining my glisten on my swimming pool or the aura around my house. So you're expendable and you're not a human being and we're just going to throw you out like the shit and scum that has been hunting me since 5 years old, okay? Now, remember that I come from a family with means. I went to college. I worked for Hollywood. I'm educated. I have a very deep technical background. I have a very deep graphic background. I'm not some fucking idiot or some hoodlum, okay? And if this is going to happen to someone like me, it can definitely happen to anyone else. That's kind of what I'm saying here. It doesn't matter who you are. When these people are hunting to kill you, they don't care who you are. And anyone that supports what they're doing before and still today, to gently put it, you're fucked in the head, and you need to come forward, and everyone needs to come forward with the truth and what they know. And at 51 years old, stealing 3/4 of my life, there's no way in fucking hell I'm ever going to be quiet about what was done for the last 50 years, especially the last 22 years, minute by minute, 100,000 to 1 million attacks per day, and still going on every day that I walk out of my house and try to go salvage some little inkling of my life that I question what the fuck is this even remotely about. And they think that I'm just going to, oh, no harm, no foul. It doesn't work that way. The reality of the situation is I've been hunted by the police, NSA, FBI, psychology community, and worldwide support for doing nothing wrong on any level and being as nice as can be. And I don't care if someone says you're too nice or you're too mean or I think you're a troll like Aubrey Fisher paid off to have me killed. It's irrelevant. The bottom line here is that this heinous, unspeakable crime that is bigger than anything that has ever happened on our planet, in human society, ever in the history of our existence, I can't be quiet about, and I don't understand how any of you can just sit there and try to cover it up and try to throw me under the bus, even if you believe that, even if the majority of the world are so stupid they believe the stupid things they're saying or whatever. It still means that you have to come forward and right your wrong and say, hey, we fucked up. Because I sure shit am not going to let you keep running over me with the bus because you're a child rapist piece of sewage. Okay, so here I am at the courthouse, once again ordering the dockets. I have most of them except the 2013 where Dincy and Jensen are sent after me, and they really got defensive when I started talking to therapist Kareen Eshigan, who was a child rapist piece of shit too, but they didn't want me talking, and they were trying to work with her to make me look unstable. You get the idea. And I'll end it here, and this will be to continued, and anyone that wants to come forward and get on video and talk about the situation, hey, let's do it. Let's talk about the real situation, not the cover-up bullshit that Kevin farted wrong and he doesn't have a right to exist or whatever. Let's talk about the real shit and not the bullshit mental illness. Kevin has OCD, Kevin can't stop, Kevin this, Kevin that. I don't, if you come to me thinking you know me, then I don't want to talk to you. If you come to me telling me what you were told and we get to the bottom of it, okay, but I don't let people in my life that come in, strangers that come into my life telling me who I am, okay? And that's a very important fact that I've dealt with my entire life. Random strangers in colleges, random women in colleges. I know who you are. I'm going to lock you away before we ever meet, okay? And they want to date me and they want to try to figure out how to exterminate me before they even get to know me, okay? And if you don't think that this is the ultimate hate crime, the largest in the history of humanity, you got to be insane. Okay. So, till next video.